Right, okay everyone, we're into a brand new week and I'm actually in a good mood for a change, so expect laughs aplenty in this video. Celtic wise, we have a couple of fixtures this week. Wednesday night we're at home to St Mirren in the league, and then on Saturday we're at home to Greenock Morton in the Scottish Cup. So between those two fixtures, look back at Kilmarnock on Saturday and all the other news, mainly transfer stuff, we have plenty to get our teeth into on today's video. Now, a little bit of business to get into just before we get on to this. It's actually more for my kind of production side of things. Just need to test out a wee name tag, you know, the wee thing, yeah, that thing that comes along the bottom of the screen at the start of my videos and when we have guests on. We're going to have a new guest on later this week. He speaks about Celtic a lot. In fact, he's even more obsessed with the club than I am, which is quite some achievement. As I say, we're going to have him on later in the week, so I just wanted to test this out. This wee name tag, put it on screen. There we go, it seems to be working all right. So yeah, he loves Celtic, that guy. So yeah, he'll surely know what he's talking about when he comes on the channel. Yeah, you get the impression there's a little bit of aggro between that guy and Ange. They've both been kind of having wee sly digs at each other, more so from one side. But Ange hasn't been backing down either. And I think it's class because, you know, Ange and Van Bronckhorst were always kind of quite pally. I got that vibe from them. Whereas I think Ange v Beale should really be Michael v Ange. Should be quite tasty, I think. It's been a while since we've had a proper rivalry in the dugout as well as on the pitch and in the stands. So looking forward to it. We do, of course, know by now that it is Rangers that stand between ourselves and a 6th League Cup in 7 seasons. The final will take place at that glorious stadium, Hampden, which never encounters any technological problems. The pitch is always in pristine condition as well, given that like 4 matches a year are played on it or something like that. But yeah, as I say, or I'm not sure if I did actually say yet, but February the 26th we are looking at for Celtic versus Rangers, and it will be at 3 p.m. This was confirmed earlier via Play with this rather kind of alarming looking image combining the faces of penalty extraordinaire James Tavernier and Celtic trophy winning captain extraordinaire Callum McGregor. I think it's going to be a tough game. I'm confident in this team's ability, of course, but as we saw last time at Ibrox, you know, if we aren't quite at it and they are at it, it can be a very difficult game for us. And I really think over the next, I think it's like 6-7 matches before the final, I really want to see this team get back to their best. I think we've been fine. Our form's been great since we came back from the break. Can't fault the form at all. I think we can play better though. And I know that's just because this team has set such high standards, but I really want to see us try and get to that over the next, as I say, half a dozen matches or so. In fact, these are, the next 5 fixtures, because the 6th one could well be the next round of the Scottish Cup. So I've just left it at 5 for now. Of course, St Mirren on Wednesday night, another opportunity for the team to try and hit that level. Saturday against Greenock Morton, I think, is going to be a case of just getting through that match. Hopefully we'll get to see some fringe players, new signings involved there. I don't think we're going to learn anything really about the team in that match. Can certainly learn about some fringe players, as I say. Then we go into Tannadice, 4 p.m. kickoff. I mean, that is good. What is going on here? We're making good decisions with kickoff times for a change. It doesn't last long though, because we're back to 12 noon for that final game against St Johnstone on the 5th of February. A few days before that, we host Livingston. I feel like we just had Livingston at Celtic Park and they're coming up again. But looking at those 5 fixtures, good opportunity for the team to have 5 wins there. I know that's, you know, that's not a given. There'll definitely be some tough matches in there, but a real opportunity for the team as well. After that, as I say, I think we're looking at the next round of the Scottish Cup, if we beat Morton, of course. Aberdeen at home after that, and then the Cup final We're meant to have Hearts that weekend. That's obviously not going to be played that weekend anymore due to the game at Hampden. So a lot of big fixtures coming up, and I think it's a really exciting period as well. Loads on the line. We've got a 9-point advantage in the league, so it feels like every league match is an opportunity to take a step closer to the title. It's a good place to be at the moment, and I'm raring to go. So yeah, that's what's on the horizon over the next wee period. Just going back to Saturday night and that 2-0 win over Kilmarnock, goals from Dies and Maeda and Georgios Giacomakis. It's the second straight Saturday we beat Kilmarnock by 2-0 in Glasgow, of course. Just want to tackle a couple of your points, the comments that you left on the post-match stream after the game on Saturday. Starting with Angel Like, great result. Sorry, Bernabei was absolutely as bad as Juranovic at Rangers, never a defender. I think Bernabei is a really interesting one because I don't think he was totally bad on Saturday night. I think he did a lot of good things, but I think equally he struggled at times. I think he was targeted by Kilmarnock. But I think in possession at times, as I said to Ange, a few weeks ago, I think he carries the ball really well, and there was even examples of that, especially in the second half. There was one really good one, I think, when he was taken out by the Kelly player late on in the game. So he does things, he almost does the really difficult things really well, and then the kind of simple things like passing or being shrugged off the ball too easily or just being sloppy. He seems to do that quite often. And I know Ange Ange rates him very highly, and I know he was keen to point that out in his answer to me a couple of weeks ago, and probably didn't like me kind of suggesting that maybe he felt Bernabei wasn't quite ready for big matches, which is fair enough. He's going to back his player. If the cup final was next weekend and obviously Greg Taylor wasn't around, would he start Bernabei at left back? Maybe he would, but I have some doubts about that, and I also have some doubts about Bernabei in those major matches at the moment. I think he'll come good. I think he needs time. Another point is that he needs a run in the team, and he's not really had that at any point in his Celtic career. He's hopefully going to get that over the next 2-3 matches at least, and he's already had 2, of course. So maybe then we'll start to see him being a bit more assured in the key moments. But he's not someone that I have complete faith in yet in real big matches. I'm talking like cup finals against Rangers, games at Ibrox, even games at Tynecastle and stuff like that. But I think he can get there. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at the moment. I don't think it's black or white. I don't think he's a crap player. Equally, I don't think he's the finished product. Of course he's not, but I think he can certainly get to be a very good Celtic player. He just needs time and a good run in the team as well. So that's my take on Bernabei at the moment. Moving on, David Hanna. Moy was excellent again. Every time he gets on the ball, I'm confident in him making an incisive pass. I wrote him off before he even began, but he's playing amazing. The Baldy heads ran the show today. Maeda again scores for Celtic. Jota is phenomenal. He goes left, he goes right, you can't catch him. Yeah, Baldy guys seem to be taking over the world if the last 7 Celtic matches are anything to go by. Probably leaves a little bit of food for thought for the rest of us. Generally speaking though, Maeda and Moy have been terrific. They've been our best performers since the World Cup. I don't know if that's a coincidence either. They both seem to have had really good World Cups. Moy was a standout for Australia in the games I watched. Maeda was pretty good as well. Obviously got his goal. And they really seem to have kicked on from that. It's given them a real confidence boost. And for me, I know Ange doesn't generally do your first choice 11, really. It's all about the squad and rotation and all that, and subs making an impact. But if you're asking me, again, if the cup final was on Sunday, Moy and Maeda would have to be in my team. I don't think we spoke enough about Maeda on Saturday. We certainly, me and Stevie spoke about Moy, but Maeda was brilliant again. I think his quality on the ball is the big improvement I've seen. He always had energy. He always pressed the game well. He always kind of tended to score goals as well. But it was just that quality and possession. Now you watch him and he's taking players on. He can mainly go outside, but he can also drift in the park as well. He's picking up great areas. And I was watching him on Saturday, and it's the first time I felt this way about him. I'm thinking, I love you. Like, I think you're brilliant, and without getting too sentimental, that's kind of what football's about. And I just think he's brilliant, Tyson Maeda, and I really hope he can keep this form up. I hope it's not, just a purple patch. I really hope this is what we're going to see from now on, because if it is, very quickly, the perceptions or the narrative is going to turn to him being one of the big players we can move on, because he's still relatively young. Is he 24 or 25? People always forget this, or simply don't realise this, but there's like 2 weeks between him and Hatate. You always think of Hatate as being this real young player and Maeda being this much older player. Maybe that's what having a baldy does to you, but there's only a couple of weeks between those two. So whatever we feel about Hatate being a bright prospect, we really have to feel the same way about Maeda. And I just think he's been excellent, and as I say, I hope he can keep this form up. In terms of Jota, I thought he was fine on Saturday. He can obviously play a lot better. He can impact games more. He's had his bug. He missed a few games. That's fine. I think Saturday was just his second start in a row. But I think him getting back to his best would really lift the team as well and help us get back to our free-flowing best ahead of that cup final. I think having Haksabanovic back, hopefully very soon, hopefully going to be in the squad for St Mirren on Wednesday night, would be big as well with regards to that. Johnny Linney, Hamish, stop your crap jokes, please. Now, this is a message from Johnny for whoever Hamish is. It's obviously not me, because just one M in my name. But Johnny's asking you to stop your crap jokes. So, yeah, thanks, Johnny. Hughie McNeil, Hamish. Oh, this one is clearly for me. Hamish, you say that it feels like every Celtic goal is being checked by VAR. I guess you're talking about the time it takes, but every goal scored by anyone is checked by VAR. It is what they are there for. I totally get that, Hughie. And actually, when I was speaking on Saturday after the game, I kind of realised when I was saying that you might kind of think that every goal is checked by VAR. That's kind of one of the things they always point out in these information videos about VAR. It's, for me, the fact that the restart is held up for virtually every Celtic goal. For example, the first goal on Saturday. Now, again, I don't know if you get this on TV. I don't know if you were at the game, but at the game, the Kilmarnock kickoff was held up, not for long, maybe only 10 seconds, 15 seconds, but it's still held up for a goal that there was nothing, remotely wrong with. And my kind of query here is, why is it taking them so long to realise that there was nothing wrong with that goal? Now, I've not timed this, but I would say an average goal celebration, all the players running in, etc., is probably somewhere around a minute, say 45 seconds to 60 seconds. Surely that is enough time for them, the officials in the VAR studio, to get rewinding that, looking at the replays, and just make sure nothing is wrong with the goal, and then seamlessly play starts when it's meant to start. That's how it works at UEFA level. You very rarely see them holding up the restart, unless it is like a marginal offside decision or a real complex series of events. But it just seems like every goal, certainly in Celtic games, I don't really watch much of the rest of Scottish football, I can only really talk about Celtic games, but virtually every goal results in like play being held up for the restart, and there's almost like a kind of question mark over every goal, and I just think that's a place that we really don't need to get to. As I say, I get it for marginal decisions, tight offsides, etc., but can we not get it done a bit faster? I mean, how long does it really take to look at a replay, maybe 2 replays, 3 replays, different angles, and just realise, yeah, that's fine. And then when the teams are ready to kick off, you've done your business by then, the game gets underway, fans don't even really need to know you've had a check. That's where I'm coming from. Next up, Pen 15. Hart was the man of the match for me. The saves he made were massive for us. I thought Joe Hart was good on Saturday, made a number of really good saves, saves kind of down low, which I think were pretty impressive. Certainly the one early on from McKenzie, a couple in the second half as well. We'll just need him to be big in the final and in some of the games we've got coming up as well. So kind of taking a wee bit of criticism for some reason recently, Joe Hart. I think it's quite harsh, to be honest. But hopefully, if his confidence was knocked at all, I doubt it would be, that's him really back to being kind of ultra confident going forward. Elsewhere, what is happening? And it's mainly transfer stuff. We got a tweet earlier from the increasingly frustrating Fabrizio Romano with some news on Georgios Giacomakis. He said Urawa Red Diamonds have reached an agreement with Celtic for the transfer of Georgios Giacomakis. Understand it's €4 million package. MLS side Atlanta still trying to sign the player, while personal terms are still under discussion with Urawa. I think after this tweet we can safely come to a conclusion that he's probably going to score on Wednesday night against St Mirren. That's the way these things seem to work. Being serious, I do think once he's not featuring in matchday squads, and that may happen on Wednesday, we can then kind of start to come to terms with Giacomakis leaving. And of course the way we deal with it is by doing the following. Let me just let you know. It's going on Twitter. That's the first thing you need to do. Step 2, you type the following. Thanks for the memories, Georgios. You can then, this is optional, this step, you can then add a few photos of big goals he scored. They should help you get some extra likes. So that's how you deal with it. I do love the big man, but yeah, I've found all the chat just a bit exhausting. Same with Juranovic as well. I mean, Celtic will move on. We'll replace these players. We've already signed Juranovic as replacement, and we'll be fine. And Ange just warned us about this months ago, that we'll lose players that we quite like, and the caravan will continue rolling down the road, or whatever that Pedro Caixinha statement was. Elsewhere, and actually speaking about Ange, he commented on potential incomings after the game on Saturday. He said, "We need to strengthen further. We need to keep getting stronger. None of the 3 boys we've signed played on Saturday, but they are going to add to us, and hopefully we're going to get another one in the door before the end of the window." And I do reckon that will probably be a striker. I think that's the position Ange is really looking at. If Giacomakis moves on, then that becomes a real priority, because we'd then really only have Kyogo. I know Maeda can play up front as well, but he's clearly seen as being more effective on the wing as far as Celtic are concerned. So yeah, lots to get our teeth into. And to be honest, that's kind of how I'm feeling at the moment. That's what I want to leave you with today. I was a little bit worried after the Champions League campaign. I'll be honest, I maybe said it at the time that after, the highs of playing Real Madrid and all of that, and given that we had such a healthy lead in the league, that the second half of the season may be like ever so slightly dull. And I was daft to think that, because it's going to be magic. I mean, we've got 2 cup competitions on the go. We're in the final of one. Our journey in the Scottish Cup is going to begin this weekend. As I said earlier, every game in the league feels like a chance to get a step closer to glory. And let's face it, 9 points clear in one competition, in the final of another, and obviously not started in the last one. We're kind of got a realistic shot at a treble. I'm not saying we're going to win it. I still think it's going to be incredibly difficult, but we're in a better position than any other team in the country. And I think it's going to be a hell of an end to the season. I really can't wait to get into all of this stuff. Every single game is going to really matter. I know that's the case almost always supporting Celtic anyway, but it's just really exciting having that real incredible target of winning a treble. And as I say, I'm not going to make any predictions on it, but it's going to be an exciting ride. And we've got all the other stuff with transfers and various players improving, and the better weather to come as well. So yeah, I'm excited for what's to come. And yeah, if you want to kind of get to grips with all of that and join 67 Hail for the ride, then please feel free to subscribe to us. You can join the family we've got here, a rather large family of around 34,500 people. We get on mainly. There is one person who kind of annoys us all, but we won't shame that person. Back tomorrow. Chat to you then.